This is a video that's going to get me in trouble when I click the upload button, but it's a video that I feel I have to make because while everyone in the amateur racing scene knows this is a thing, I have never seen this talked about on YouTube, and it probably should be because it's crazy more people don't know that this is a thing. Local short track racing in North America is extremely dangerous, but not for the reasons you think. It surprisingly has nothing to do with what safety gear is mandated and what safety gear is optional. At the local short track level, there is no vetting process when it comes to drivers at all. There is nothing preventing you from sharing the track with literal retards. There is not a criminal background check, there is not a piss test, and there's no type of breathalyzer test. This goes for NASCAR tracks as well as independent tracks. It's basically the honor system. If you get caught, obviously, you'll be in a bunch of shit, and you'll probably be banned off the property, but up until that point, as long as you can sneak it by event staff, it's fair game. And usually people with those kinds of personal demons are pretty good at hiding it. However, the biggest issue in my opinion has nothing to do with substances, but it's the fact that no formal training is actually required to go short track oval racing. In road racing, bike racing, and drag racing, they all have elaborate licensing processes where you're mandated to sit through classroom instruction, go through a mock race weekend with an instructor, partake in graduation races where you learn the basic rule set, as well as basic car control or bike control techniques, and then at the very end, your instructor signs off on your license. This does not exist in the world of oval racing. If you want to race in a NASCAR sanctioned event at your local short track, all you need to do is show up with one of the cars that's being raced that night and pay around $100 or so for a simple NASCAR membership. Now, it's called a NASCAR license, but in reality it's more akin to a yearly membership like a Blockbuster card. This is how scam artist Tia Norfleet found herself in a late model at Motor Mile Speedway about 10 years ago. A NASCAR license is not a license in a traditional sense, it's literally a Blockbuster card, and she just paid the membership like everyone else. At non-NASCAR sanctioned events like a dirt oval, for example, it's even easier. You just show up and pay the entry fee to whoever's running the back gate directly. This means that a lot of the people you end up sharing the track with as an amateur oval racer, whether it be in 4 cylinders or something as crazy as a late model or a super late model, have no car control. They don't know how to navigate through a wreck safely. They don't know how to spin out safely. And if they get sideways next to you, that may very likely be the first time they've ever been sideways or lost control of a motor vehicle at speed. 80 to 85% of the time, nothing bad happens from this. The gifted drivers will find themselves at the front of the pack. One of them will win the race. Someone who doesn't have the greatest car will blow up at some point during the evening, and generally everyone will go home pretty happy. When it goes wrong, it's pretty ugly. And if you have a hunch that these people probably shouldn't be on a racetrack, you're more right than you think you are.
Big rat. Oh my God!
Now, the reason I'm bringing this up today, on Friday night I saw a pretty nasty looking wreck at Edmonton International Raceway during the preliminary races of their NASCAR Pinty Series weekend. In the teenager 4-cylinder division, one of the kids got loose coming out of turn 2 and had clearly never experienced that before, so they put a whole bunch of opposite lock into the wheel, which you should never ever do on an oval track. And of course, the car hooked right, and they went at a 45-degree angle, full throttle into the wall like Dale Earnhardt. As you can imagine, we had a pretty substantial red flag period. Now, maybe it'll make the news, maybe it won't. Maybe there'll be some discussion on the safety gear and how it was installed. Maybe there won't. But from recalling how that accident played out, basically from the time the driver entered turn 1, they looked like they had no idea what they were doing and nobody had even bothered to show them. This happened all by themselves without a single car around them, 2 laps into the race. In treating local short track racing as a form of rec league soccer and implying that anyone can just come out and bomb around for a few laps and that it's not a serious sport anyway, someone's in the hospital because of that. And while not every wreck like this ends up with someone in the hospital, a lot of the short track wrecks you see every single weekend are the result of people literally not knowing what they're doing and having no training at all, unlike road racing, bike racing, or drag racing, because nobody in oval racing requires it. This is what makes it pretty incredible for someone to be successful at the amateur level, but it's also what makes amateur short track racing super dangerous. By comparison, when I got started in short track racing about 6 or 7 years ago, I came from playing hardcore PC racing sims for the better part of a decade, as well as rented out the track for about $1,000 to have private one-on-one coaching, to have someone walk me through the differences between sim racing and reality, and then lastly, bought what's essentially a video game strategy guide written by Steve Smith on how to drive a real-life ASA late model. I was extremely surprised to learn that I was the only one who really went this far, but maybe with the volume of material that's available for free on YouTube and with the widespread accessibility of racing simulators now, maybe this should start being the norm in this scene. There's really no excuse at this point for local short track racing to be full of like downright retarded wrecks.